Oi! Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to another episode of The Gist with Josh. I'm going in the spirit of a good Englishman, in the spirit of a good United Kingdom patriot. I'm going to try and do this entire episode in an English accent, a cheap, foddy English accent, because I'm trying to capture the mentality. I want to understand what the mind of the Brit is like right now and how they're feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this lovely... I want to sound like Pierce Morgan. I want to sound so professional. Okay. Hello. My name is Joshua Thompson. My name is Josh Thompson, and I'm your host of The Gist with Josh. I would like to thank you for joining us today to discuss some really important matters. Some important matters regarding, well, where a lot of white people actually come from is our homeland, the motherland, England, that little island off in the top of the ocean in the Atlantic that has, I'm starting to sound a little fucking Irish now, I got Irish blood, okay? I got Irish blood, all right? I got blood from the kingdom pumping through my veins, okay? So if you don't think I'm capable, if you don't think I'm authorized, if you don't think I'm licensed to talk about the absolute meltdown, the absolute disintegration of social order in the United Kingdom, well, you have another thing coming, because that's exactly what I intend to do. If you've been paying attention this week, if you've been following along, and I know I have been, I've spent a lot of time on the X this week, on the social media, the new Twitter, and I've been really following what's been going on. And there's a gentleman by the name of Tommy Robinson, if you don't know, and he's a journalist from the UK that has a paper that I forget, it eludes me. I think it's something, the truth or something. It's, he's got his own paper. He's a huge journalist, and he's been documenting these grooming cases where, basically parents in England, white parents, people who, from this community, who live in these small communities in England, are experiencing, these dudes coming from, Iran, Arabia, coming with their camels, across the English Channel, and they're settling down here. And apparently, the English are having a real problem with, these sand people grooming their kids. No, I shouldn't say sand people, but it's really blown up. And this story that was being covered by this journalist, Tommy Robbins, really ended up blowing up, and it was getting a lot of traction. It's been something that's been he's been talking about for years, but with the levels of immigration and what they have reached, with the level of angst that people have, they're tired of bringing in and sharing their resources. They're keeping migrants in hotels and whatnot. It's like all these factors, are kind of colliding. You got the fact that, these people are Tommy Robinson's following a story. You got the fact that people are saying, the economy's not doing too well. There's a lot of people that are angry. There's a lot of dispute right now between Muslims and Jews because of what's going on in Israel. You got people taking sides there. And you got this one hell of an issue. Like, what a complex spiderweb issue. Like, there's so many different factors. Like, you don't even know who's on the right or who's on the left. You don't know who's an individual. You don't know who's just repeating somebody else's talking point. It's become so fractured. It was so easy when it was Donald Trump, telling Hillary Clinton she sucked. But now that we're on almost like the eve of a world war, nobody knows what to think. Like, nobody knows who's telling the truth. Nobody knows. Like, people are accusing me of lying for asking questions. If you ask questions about why a certain if you ask questions about somebody's religion, or if you question the nature of somebody's religious status. Like, it immediately is put into question whether or not you're trying to, like, are you a Zionist? Oh, are you questioning what Muslims do because you're a Zionist and you want to, you're trying to skew the narrative to, get Israel, and you care about, taking over all of Iran. You want to take over all these Muslim countries. It's total. You're not. It's not simple anymore. You can't just kind of say, oh, it's this guy's. They're in the wrong. You can't blame it on Muslims. You can't blame it on anybody. It'd be nice. It'd be nice if you could just kind of, put it off on, kick them out of the country. And that's what people are desperately trying to do. You got people, that are angry with the migrants, that are angry with these news stories about kids getting groomed. They're angry with, these, the overcapacity, nature of bringing in migrants to the country. And they're totally lashing out. And they're saying, these people, like Muslims, you're evil, and you can't trust them. You can never trust a Muslim ever. But then you actually talk to some of the Muslims, and there's some some of them are kind of reasonable. But then you report back to your fellas, and they're telling you these guys are just trying to trick you. I had one guy tell me that. I told him I had a good experience talking with Muslims, and that I did know some peaceful Muslims. And he told me, well, you haven't heard the story of the family, the white family in the Middle East who broke bread and had dinners with a Muslim family once, and he ended up getting all killed. So it's a real posh situation. It's very interesting, and you got to pick a side. Do you got to you want to kick everybody out? Do you want to be nice? And it's a total clusterfuck, to be completely honest. I can barely say what should or shouldn't be done, to be honest with you. It's fascinating. It's fascinating to see. I'd like to think that people could kind of come together. There's nothing. Surely we can all agree that we're a little bit at capacity. Like, here in Canada, we like to bring in Indians. It's our favorite pastime. We bring in Indians, and we get them to work in the Tim Hortons, and they do a good job. But over in the UK, it's an entirely different ball game. They got a tiny little island. How are they supposed to fit people on that tiny little island? They got like how much stuff can you really put on that island? Like, how many people can live there in peace? So how much of this is just kind of reached a point where it's like no return. They gotta let go. They gotta start shoving some of these people off. Getting rid of some folks. Start picking straws. And it looks like there might be like a fight or something. Some of these people are being accused of acid attacks. There'll be a news story saying, violent criminals are roaming across. White guys are going around looking for Muslims to lynch, and then the Muslims will hear that in their community on the news or something, and then they'll assemble, and then you have a whole gang essentially that's like conglomerating to essentially poke people with knives and like fight people. You're seeing like guys at pubs, they're chilling out, having a good time, doing the British thing, having a pint, with the lads. And then all of a sudden, a big crowd of fucking, people from Arabia, Aladdin, comes over with their genie lamp. They start rubbing the sides, start granting wishes, and next thing you know, people are getting knocked out. And then you have, in retaliation to that, you got roving gangs of white people that want to take back their country, looting Greggs for sausages and Bed and Bath and Beyond for their soap. So, I would like to think that either party, either group could coexist. They could, they can kind of work it out. As long as there's enough room, there's enough houses for everybody. I'd like to think the issue isn't that, these people just can't live together, because that's what a lot of people are saying. They're saying there's no way that the Muslims could ever live with the English people. It'd be impossible for us to integrate. They're just slowly building a body, like a military mass. And then once they reach capacity, they're gonna lay siege to us. They're gonna send their armies to, they're gonna commit jihad. They're gonna start crucifying us. God, can you imagine? What would we do if Britain got like totally converted to like Islam? Like all like the people that like, they like their beans and toast, and now they gotta like get crucified and like be infidels. Like imagine a fat like British pub guy with like his 6 triple-decker chin, like just getting hung up. You know what I mean? Like imagine the sounds. Like that just sounds awful. The moaning, of a poor Brit, a poor big fat guy getting crucified. I don't even know if you could crucify. Some of these guys are so fat. So I don't know if that is what the Muslims are up with. If that's what Islam's all about. And I don't think it is. Because I've been hearing differently. Unless they're lying to me, they might be tricking me. There's some of that going on. I've had some people like to they like to lie. But I like to believe in people. I like to take the truth. I like to give people a chance. And there's some people in this community of Muslims that are trying to like stand up and speak for their brothers and say like, hey, we're not violent. We kind of just want to be able to express ourselves and be safe in our communities and like be accepted in English culture and whatnot, which is like pretty tight. Let those people get some exception. But then you got the fact that I don't know, a lot of these people aren't. Maybe it's the white guys that aren't being accepting. You got a lot of people that are just angry. They're fed up. They're tired of sharing their queen. They're tired of sharing their cool little cities with their nice fountains. There's not enough room, and they want to get rid of some people. And these guys are going around to obviously a lot of these migrants are kept in hotels and whatnot. You bring them in, they put them in the hotels because there's not enough houses and stuff. But a lot of these houses, are getting burned down. You got big crowds of people that are just fed up with immigration. They're fed up with little girls getting attacked with knives. They're fed up with children being groomed. They're fed up with this culture, and they're starting to become like very angry. And there might be a bit of a generalization beginning to occur. That like everybody's like every last Muslim is a rapist. Every last Muslim is a murderer. And there's really no like, so it's like really every Muslim is a rapist. Like every Muslim, you know what I mean? Like you mean every single one of them? Like I've seen like 3 today, I think. You know what I mean? They all got like murder on the mind. Are they all trying to like figure out how to like fucking take over? You know what I mean? And I get called an idiot, for trying to keep an open mind, trying to, I don't know. Every Muslim I've ever met hasn't tried to kill me. I don't know what to say. Like maybe if one, was more murderous, I might get on my horse, but I don't believe necessarily that they're all bad. There's probably a couple good ones. There's probably some nice ones. But then you hear the people, they say that, the chief Muhammad, they say he's a bad guy. They say he likes to, they're saying he likes to fuck kids. They're saying he likes to crucify non-believers. If you don't believe in the tenets of the religion or whatever, like, which I don't know what those are, but they're gonna put a sock in it permanently, and that's like their leader. That's like their Jesus. So their Jesus is like evil. Like we have a good Jesus, and even they agree that our Jesus is cool. Like we got a good Jesus, but but everyone's kind of like, yeah, they're assholes. You know what I mean? But I'm holding out an open mind. Like I think there is I don't know. I feel like ever since I was a kid, like, like you have cities like New York, you got cities, like Toronto, you got places where people come from all over the world, and they're metropolises, it's kind of tight, it's cool, you can get different shit. And they weren't doing this before. Like they weren't, coming at each other with knives. They weren't doing all this crazy shit, and I don't know, maybe they're sending a different quality. Maybe back then they were sending good Muslims, and now they're sending bad Muslims. They sent all the good ones, and they ran out. and they're starting to send us bad ones. Or maybe they're offloading all their bad citizens. That's a theory you hear. They're trying to offload all the baddies of the world into our nice little countries, where we got things all set up all nice. We have nice things here. We like things nice. So, but the powers that be, these rich people, these people that, own companies like Microsoft and Xbox, these guys that, made the toaster, they don't want you to be able to go to the park with your kids without, being threatened, with jihad, by one of these, these immigrants. And like I said, I haven't, witnessed any, Islamic extremism yet. I haven't been so fortunate to get to experience what that might be like. But I don't know. The way these British people are talking, it's coming in hot. And then you see these guys, carrying around swords like it's fucking the 1600s or something. Like it's back in the days of Camelot. Like they got swords now. You got swords. You might as well get some armor out. You got swords and armor. You might as well get a horse. You give a knight a sword, armor, a horse. He's gonna want a damsel in fucking distress. These guys are gonna have skirmishes like it's medieval times. They're gonna have like balls and flails and in the UK they don't really have guns. So it'll probably just be like real medieval like combat. They'll probably have to get out crossbows and stuff. Do they even have any more castles in the UK to protect shit and defend stuff? They might have to rebuild the castles. You know what I mean? Because what if this breaks out into an all out civil war? This breaks out into every man for himself. They're gonna need to bring back the castles, and the king's gonna have to start doing his job again. That's the one thing about this whole thing. While this whole fiasco has been taking place, the king has been totally MIA. Who knows where this guy is? He's probably off playing Quidditch or some shit with Hermione Granger, sucking off babies, sucking off the blood out of the baby through their penis or some shit, so he can remain permanently young. He's probably trying to he's trying to field the fountain of youth in his life. He's trying to attain demonic enlightenment. That's some of the theories I've heard. But it's not like he's come out and said anything. He's like, oh, well, why are all the people in my country so angry? I don't know. Maybe we should pause tea time. That they haven't had that conversation. They haven't. They're not worried about They're not worried about it whatsoever. They're off in their palace. I think he was riding around on an e-bike or something, or a Segway. You know what I mean? So, what are the odds? Or no, he was riding around on an electric scooter, the King Charles, or one of the royals, Prince Edward's. So these guys really don't care. They're totally fine with letting this thing kind of keep going on. And then you got the new Prime Minister of the UK that's basically just completely turned on his own population, who's decided that everybody who's participating in protests online or, in real life is now a thought criminal and they should be fucking tried and sent to jail, if you're caught inciting this. But then on the same note, you got these Muslim people doing the same thing online and there's nothing being done about it. Is it because he can't read? He can't read the Islamic text? Are they just getting away with this because, we're too afraid, when we don't want to get called racist, maybe that's it. But so we're going to have, we're going to just kind of only worry about the white people. We can handle them. We're going to get them in line. They're reasonable. You know what I mean? We know we can take care of our own people. But if that's how we're going to be handling things, can we really afford to take in any more immigrants? I mean, having such an excess of immigration, how many people can we have a system, we have things set up for a certain way. How many hotels can we fill with people from these war-torn countries, before something like this starts to happen, And it's did they not think about that? Did the Prime Minister of the UK not put two and two together? Did nobody in charge, they didn't ask themselves, hey, if we try and bring in 20 million fucking people from fun a la land, you know what I mean? It might get a little crazy up in here. They didn't ask themselves that, or did they ask themselves? Like, what people are saying is, they're trying. The government hates them. Like these elite, these people in power in Britain, these people in power in America, these people in power, in these countries. They don't really give a fuck about, the quality of life that these people enjoy. They don't really care about the working class, British person. As far as they're concerned, you get your beans and fucking toast. Shut your mouth. There's nothing else beyond that. What else do you need? You have Guinness, you have beans, you have toast, you have the telly, you have, you got the big clock tower. What do you need? Who cares that we brought in the Moors? You know what I mean? Who cares that we're basically going to like replace your local population with people that have no recollection or idea of anything about your culture? Just kind of go along with it. Like, get jiggy with it. Like, have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, try wearing a burqa. Have you ever wore a burqa? Before you knock it, try it. Try covering your entire face and going outside. It's probably nice. It's probably good for you. It's probably good for your, it's probably good to walk around in the mask, with a sword, with a scimitar, with like a ceremonial dagger at all times. God probably likes stuff like that, and I'm fine with it. Like I said, bring in more fancy people from, exotic lands to cook, basic chicken recipes for us. But, hopefully they're not going to turn on us at some point, and start, trying to reenact the fucking, the crucifixion, we don't need that. Or maybe we do. Maybe this is like a punishment, Maybe this is God saying to us, you guys been living high on the hog. You've been playing it fast and loose. You've been letting it slip. It's been slipping for a long time. And now here you are. You're at an impasse. You can compromise, or you're just gonna have to give up your country, I guess. Go make a new one. Maybe that's the move. We just gotta leave it behind. We just gotta give it up. Let them have it. Go full, we're just gonna go build a new white people society. Build a new white country for us. We'll call it, I don't know, let's think. What would be a good name if we had to make a new place for white people for us to live? What would be a good name for white people land? Maybe Utopia. Just name it something nice. Rename it. We could call it. We could just call it England again. We could just make England, remake it. That's what the English people did when they came to the New World. They just came there, named everything after everything they had in England. That might be the move. We could go to Madagascar. Madagascar is cool. They got red mud. They got lots of big bugs there, lots of weird animals. We'd probably thrive in Madagascar. People think Madagascar is not that great. There's not a lot there. Not a lot to see. Well, we get down there. We start fixing it up a little bit. Might have something special. They got those funny monkeys from Penguins of Madagascar there. The lemurs. We could have a lemur-based society. Next thing you know, we'll have them. They'll be immigrating to us again. By then, we'll probably have the rockets. We can probably just leave the fucking planet. But it's a matter of, should we just fight? Should we just have a total war? Would that be nice? Just to kind of to release it, to make a bunch of guns and just kill each other. Who knows? Maybe that's the move. Think about, we could reduce the surplus population. I bet you'd make more money if there was less people. You'd probably get paid more. It's just a supply and demand. There's less people to work. Probably going to make more money. You'll probably be the best, most well-paid slave ever. After they're finished, replacing every white country on earth with degenerates, we'll have, nothing at all. And then, it'll just be different citadels with rich people living in them that you can go, be a slave for. Imagine being like a slave for some like post-apocalyptic Bill Gates or like Mark Zuckerberg. You could go and like live in the Facebook compound. You could go like, talk to King Zuckerberg, or like his kids. Whatever that future is supposed to look like for us. Do we want to have techno kings, take over and, just kind of have a big war, blow everybody up, and like whoever, lives. They can fight for the scraps, there'll be enough for everyone. There'll be enough to go around. Just give it up. You don't need stuff. You don't need countries. You don't need, you don't need identity. You don't need a home. Just go along. Just get jiggy with it. Have fun with it. Go party, Go do fentanyl. They got a lot of fentanyl. It's cheap. You could be addicted to fentanyl. Why worry about this stuff? Life is short. You don't know if God's real. You might die and it might just be a black hole. Why not just get addicted to fentanyl and, let some Indians come and work at Tim Hortons for you? You don't have to worry about it. We could just take our foot off the gas and, let this thing go. Which is kind of what a lot of people, are doing. A lot of people have become so apathetic. They don't even want to, listen to this stuff. They want to, they want to crawl into their bed, or they want to watch a movie, or they want to go out and get drunk. They don't want to talk about, these politics. They don't want to talk about the UK fighting for their homeland. They don't want to talk about English people. Like, who cares? Maybe the Muslims should just take over the whole thing. They might rock it out there, man. They might rock it out. England might be better if it was just ruled by like Islam. You know what I mean? It might be cool to have a total empire that just hates everybody and wants to take over the world like a bad guy. If we just always had that at the back of our minds, we might be a little bit more on top of shit. Unlike nowadays where, it's the only thing people were really concerned about is whether or not their Snap stories streaks continue and are, they're fucking, they can get they can take their fucking, they can take their dog to go shit on the street or something. There's the goals that people have, the values that people have. They're practically non-existent. There's no real belief structure. There's nothing that people are really aiming for. Well, it's not everybody, but most people, it's like that. So when they see, they find out that their country is getting totally, destroyed, they don't really give a shit. They're I'm halfway through. They're looking at their ticket. They're saying, I don't have a lot of time left. What do I got to worry about? Why is this such a big deal? Why can't we just ignore this? You know what I mean? Let somebody else deal with this problem. When it gets really bad, then we can deal with it. When you can't even get the basic necessities, then that'll be the time to take care of all the problems. When it's already too late. Because it's just necessity is the mother of all invention. People aren't just going to get up and start taking back their country. They're not just going to be oh, Tommy Robinson, said that we need to do a riot. We need to go and we need to drag the queen out. They're not going to go and talk to the king like they should. They're just going to fucking sit over there in their little British houses, drinking tea and eating crumpets, and they're probably just gonna let half the people get arrested, and they're gonna bring in even more migrants, and then they're gonna say, oh, we need to go fight the Muslims in Iran because they're attacking Israel and Israel's the good guys, and we all gotta go to war, so we'll go to fucking war. We'll go over there, they'll make us go, people that have no fucking business. I don't care what they do in Africa. I could not care. I've never even looked at what they've done. I don't know what they do in Africa. I know they eat bugs. That's all I know about Africa. I know they like to eat bugs. It's like one of their favorite things to do is like they make like all kinds of food out of bugs. And they have trouble with water and stuff, Why is that my problem? Why should I care? Just let them blow each other up. People say, oh, we got to protect the Jewish people. They're the holy people. They are the chosen, And I was under the impression that they were the chosen. I thought we had to go, I thought we had to protect all the Jewish people. But, these guys that are running Israel, they're not even really as much into the whole, Judaism and like spirituality thing as they are like creating the state of Israel. They want a country, with big ass guns that, line or the surround it, that just kind of like shoot up into the sky all the time. Like that's kind of a crazy idea for a country, It's just like the world's first like turret country. It's like constant tower defense for those guys. We're talking about setting up one of those Iron Dome defense systems in the United States. Imagine an Iron Dome. Imagine having big turrets on the top of buildings in the United States. It's like, oh, someone's flying a jetliner into one of our buildings again. Just gets like lasered by a fucking turret. That might be the future. We might just need guns and turrets like on every street corner, just controlled by AI. The future is maybe that's how we can, integrate safely. Like if we had enough cameras and we had enough automated weapons, we could just get everybody in line, like, oh, what's that? You don't like that, Muslim people are doing this? Okay. Or you're a Muslim person, or you're just a human being and you're like slightly displeased. There's a frown on your face, laser in on you. They shoot you with a turret right there and that. Or they'll scan. They'll be like, "Oh, this guy hasn't smiled in like a week. We need to arrest this guy. This guy's probably a social liability. We need to take him in for questioning." They should just have turrets and guns pointed at everybody all the time. That's obviously the solution to this. We need a total military-based society. Everything should be based on like just backed by violence. A society backed by violence, is a good society. It's people don't fuck around. You just need to have enough guns, in the right hands. Can't be like in the United States where like, all the people, fucking heathens, the hooligans, they can't have any weapons. No. But the police and like the walls, the walls that the camera are on, the wall should have a gun, that is controlled by, artificial intelligence that can, decide whether or not somebody is, deserving of life at that particular moment. We should probably have that in the UK, keep things in line. Then you wouldn't have all these big protests. You wouldn't have these big issues. The king wouldn't have to struggle so much if they just, totally like just implemented automated turrets to like every street corner. That's probably the future. We'll have our social credits, and we'll have like you'll greet the turrets. Like you'll like go up to a building and like you'll meet the automated gun outside. It'll point at your face and say, "Hello, hi, how are you doing today, sir?" And it'll have like a little British accent. You haven't had any bad thoughts about any Islamic people today, have you? Oh, chip cheerio, good. Go on then. Access granted. And you get halfway, into the door, and then the thing beeps, and it's like, haha, psych, fucking, we know you're a terrorist. There's gonna be no more of this thinking out loud. See, that's part of the problem. The more people you have thinking for themselves, trying to work this shit out, being wrong, being so wrong. You can't have that. You can't have people being wrong about things. You can't have people, venturing a guess. You can't have people like potentially like getting the wrong idea or having a bad take. Like that, like how is society supposed to function if we let people have bad ideas? Everybody should only have good ideas. And if we can't like use turrets and scare everybody into that kind of, dichotomy, then we're going to have to like use the Neuralink, or we're going to have to use like pills. We're going to have to medicate them, just medicate everybody, state sanctioned, chapters of prescriptions, series of different drugs you have to take to like warp your mind and like numb yourself so that you can exist in your post national fucking ethno state and be pleased. God bless Tommy Robinson for speaking up and raising all this hell. I hope cooler heads prevail. I hope everyone just kind of has a chat. I hope everybody has a chat and kind of maybe a cup of tea, and they can kind of figure it out. Wouldn't that be nice? If they didn't go cutting each other up, and trying to lynch each other. That might be more productive and English in the spirit of good English, than total fucking civil war. Because I don't think they're gonna get out of it. If they start attacking each other. If this becomes about like Christians and Muslims and fighting for their their religion, then we're not gonna stand a chance when the United Nations godless, I don't give a fuck about anything soldiers come in and just, stormtroop your country on behalf of George Soros, you know what I mean? I think the only way that, people like me and people like you, frankly, are going to get our way is if we look at these people that we really don't like. We don't like these people. They smell, they come from places where they live in dirt huts. But the truth of the matter is, if we stand a chance of making it out of this total, complete corporate tyranny that is enveloping every aspect of our lives, we might have to work with these people. God forbid, we might actually have to work with them. We might have to lock arms and join forces with like the Tim Hortons Indians and the Uber Eats Muslims, and we might have to create like a pact, between them and like the government assistance white people, and then overthrow these animals that have totally taken over every company. They've taken over every institution of our government. They do not let you participate in the political system. They don't let you, they're threatening people for having a voice on Facebook in the UK. People that are, voicing their opinions about the protest online are being accused of inciting violence and being, put in courts for jail sentences. You know what I mean? So maybe the only way that we stand half of a chance against these fucking totally godless, in some cases, they're going to parties and, you get videos of them worshiping, Satan, they're wearing hoods, they got masks on, they really don't like people, they're not really into people. That's why they fly private jets. That's why they have so much money between them and everybody else, is because they can't stand the fact that they have to share a planet with us. So it's more convenient to like pit us against each other and have us kill one another, and then come back and work for them after, than it is to kind of like share, the world, because that would take a little bit too much. They have to share something, Why is that? You should just be able to take whatever you can take. Like whatever you can get should be yours. Like if you can take it from somebody else, then it should be yours. That's how we should. Like that's kind of like what these people are thinking, like, right? So if we don't like that, we don't like working for, Mark Zuckerberg and, all these gay people, we might have to like hook up with these Muslim dudes that low-key might want to crucify us. Maybe they want to crucify just a little bit. Maybe they're restraining themselves, maybe they are restraining themselves. We might have to work with them. We might have to look them in the eye and say, listen, all right, I understand you might, be trying to crucify me. But if we can work together and, overthrow these guys, we can get right back to that. We can get back to business. But maybe, because the Muslims surely got to be able to see it. I mean, even if they took over Britain, even if they replaced all the whites and created, a new Iran or whatever the fuck they want to do. I don't know what they're trying to do in there. They're still going to have to face, all these rich people that don't necessarily want them alive either. I mean, hey, look what's going on with, they got these, the Israeli government launching fucking pipe bombs across blowing up kids in soccer fields and whatnot. Maybe they don't like, you that much either. Maybe you're not the only ones getting, maybe we're not the only ones getting fucked here. So maybe the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Yeah. There's an old adage, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves the whole world blind and toothless, but the enemy of your enemy is your friend. And it's a whole lot better to gang up on one person than it is to try and fight an honest fight against an equal opponent. So I think that's the move. I think we should just join forces. We should, link up, find the coolest Muslims, find the coolest Jews, and we should overthrow the British monarchy and get rid of the King Charles, the vampire. And I don't know, we got to get a new guy in there. We got to get some fresh blood. You know what I mean? And people, you bring up the idea that maybe the monarchy is not responsible, and British people get so offended. They're like, "How dare you say that about our queen? How dare you suggest, she's anything but the best." Or the king is anything but the best. Some of them don't like him. Some of them, probably think he's probably drinking blood on weekends, but a lot of people, they're not, they're kind of into it. So maybe that's the next move. We're all gonna start to kind of realize who's really pulling the strings here. It's not the Jews. It's not the collective Jew consciousness like so many people seem to think. Like, I don't think it is anyways. It'd be kind of crazy, if it really was all the Jews, like just all the dudes with like the hats and like the the hair with the little twisty hairs. If they were just really running shit that hard with like just from the tunnels. You know what I mean? They just have tunnels going between everywheres and they're just secret societying like everywheres. Like I don't know. Maybe. But it can't be. It's either one or the other. It's either the Jews are the Antichrist or the Muslims are the Antichrist. Christians are good. Everybody agrees that the Christians are we're in the right. No matter what, we're right. It's just these weird people who, aren't like us. Yeah. That's okay. We accept them. We'll love them. We have the best Messiah, the Jesus Messiah, the one everyone kind of likes. So we'll probably forgive them. We'll probably bring them in. We'll probably continue to, fix their livelihoods and make everything better. That's just our nature. Unless, Jesus is going to come back in the next couple hundred years, then things might get a little choppy, according to Revelations, according to the book, the final book from the Bible. And a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying, hey, these are the end days. This is in another 600 years. Jesus is going to come back, and he's going to place a seal on, all the truly on his true disciples' heads, and then a swarm of locusts is going to burst forth from a void opened up in the middle of the earth, and these giant locusts with people's faces are going to fly around and eat everybody who doesn't have a seal on their forehead. Wouldn't that suck? You get done dealing with these fucking liberals. You get done, you fight the Muslims, you take back your country, you tell, you do something about the king's in his head. And then all of a sudden, Jesus comes back, angels, on four corners of the planet just start blowing fucking horns. Fuck. Like, hopefully you had your ducks in a row. You don't want to be one of these guys without a seal on their head. You don't want to not have the seal of truth, the seal of the living God on your forehead, when he comes back to earth to judge, because then you're going to get eaten alive by locusts. And if the locusts don't get you, the angels that kill people will get you. And if the angels that kill people won't get you, the fire that, scorches the earth will get you. Or, because it's going to rain hellfire. So, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about hellfire? How do you feel about getting eaten by a swarm of locusts? How do you feel about being rejected by God, creator of the universe? Like, imagine God was just like, I don't like you. Get away from me. I'm like, bitch, you created me. Like, you literally are the universe, and you just, don't like me? Come on. That would suck so hard, You just go to hell to suffer for eternity? Shouldn't there be, I don't know, a redo or something? No redos. Probably not. Not according to what I read. So, regardless of whether you're who you are, you better act smarten up, start acting right, because we really don't know what the fuck's going on. We just know that a whole lot of people are about to have a whole lot less than they had previously, because we got this big thing coming, this big thing where the people in charge want us to go fight in wars, and they don't want us to have money, and the houses have to cost so much money that nobody can live in them, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon. They say it's you got to have the weak times or good times create the strong men create good times create the the weak guys, the weak guys create shitty times, and the shitty times create, the good guys, the strong guys. You know what I mean? So we gotta figure it out. We gotta decide. Do we want to have a billion? Do we want to have a fucking bunch of sins on our belt? Do we want to turn against people and divide people and try and fight in these wars because we don't like how this other person operates? If you're a Muslim, because you don't like that they don't believe in your God, you're going to go and fucking kill everybody. Is that really your solution? You think that's going to get anyone anywhere? It's a real tough one. It's a tough one. And I'm not entirely sure the answer. I don't know. I hope that they figure it out. I hope they figure it out, man. Because I was hoping to go and visit England someday. How am I gonna visit England? I won't get to see any of the cool English shit because it'll be gone. It'll be replaced with, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? I'm gonna do a little time check real quick. Oh yeah. All right. Well, it's been like 48 minutes. You've been able to hear me rant. Kind of. You get to hear my confusion, nonsensical. My lack of idea of what the fuck's going on. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure, as always, to be your host, to do the show, The Just with Josh, I hope British people, figure it out. I hope, they get to take back their country and, they don't get replaced. I hope that everyone doesn't start fighting. I hope that, people stop bombing each other in Africa so we can stop hearing about it. And, I hope everyone has a good week. I hope everyone has a nice weekend and a good week. And God blesses you. And, you have a relationship with the Almighty. And, you don't get your head stuck in the sand. And maybe you're paying a little bit of attention to what's going on. And with that, I think that's it. What else is there to say, really? Ladies and gentlemen, this has been The Gist with Josh. I bid you adieu. All right? Take care. God bless. All right? God save England. God bless Tommy Robinson.